I like to make sure I can see all of you when I'm talking to you, so I got to get that right. Okay. Look at us. We're just this little big group today. So, now I moved my pelvis piece. Okay. All right. So, we're going to keep working with the pelvis a bit here, and we're going to work with our awareness along. We were talking about the space, we talked about the pubic bones, right? We talked about the pubic bone. We talked about that we have two pubic bones, a right and a left. The upper pubic bone, there's the lower pubic bone. So I was reminding you that there's height to the pubic bone. And then that this bone, this branch, the ramus, that comes on from the pubic bone, the top of the pubic bone, and across toward, it goes towards your inner hip. Here's your hip joint. So this upper ramus, so sometimes we might be going from pubic bone along this whole area to the inner hip joint, towards the inner hip joint. Or we might be going from the inner hip back toward the pubic bone. Now, this doesn't look like very much distance, but I would say in my own body, and it's different from right to left. Sometimes I bring my felt sense along here, and I do feel it stop at a place where my awareness is much more difficult to achieve. So that doesn't mean, because sometimes I find myself just going, okay, well then I'll just ignore the rest of that. But what I want to do is actually keep trying to increase my awareness along it, whichever direction I'm going. And then from the bottom of the pubic bone, if we travel along this lower ramus, we come to the sitting bone, right? So we might be going along the lower ramus to the sit bone, or releasing the other way, releasing from the sitting bone along towards the ramus. And then I think it's been a number of years ago, we also, so some of you might remember, some of you might not, but here's the sitting bone. So it has a little thickness to it. And one of the instructions I'll probably give you today is going to be releasing, say, from inner sitting bone towards the outer sitting bone. This is a release. Or we might go from the outer sitting bone towards the inner sitting bone. Right? Okay, that's the area that we're going to work with. Okay? The upper ramus. A ramus is translated as a branch. So you could think of it as, you know, the upper branch and the lower branch, and those two directions that those branches take you. Wow. Did you know you had branches in your body? Well, it's hard to believe, but then again, it's not really when we think of how we're so like nature, right? Or if you listen to Richard Powers' interview, the man who wrote the Overstory, and you really see that whole connection piece. So you're going to work with your branch, your pelvis, those little branches in your pelvis. All right. But to start, let's go ahead and take a comfortable seat. And you can drop your attention just into how your pelvis finds the surface beneath you. Lengthening your spine up towards the sky. And beginning to deepen your breath. You can drop into your ujjayi. And again, the ujjayi, in this season of Vata, we want this ujjayi breath to be smooth and easeful. I'm not looking for this to be the most robust, loud, strong ujjayi. I'm looking for an ujjayi that is smooth and easeful. Excuse me. And I'm going to share with you this morning John O'Donohue. John O'Donohue's blessing. I kind of think of it as like my happy December. May you be blessed with good friends. May you learn to be a good friend to yourself. May you be able to journey to that place in your soul where there is great love, warmth, feeling, and forgiveness. May you be able to journey to that place in your soul where there is great love, warmth, feeling, and forgiveness. May this change you. May it transfigure that which is negative, distant, or cold in you. May you be brought into the real passion, kinship, and affinity of belonging. May you treasure your friends. May you be good to them, and may you be there for them. May they bring you all the blessing, challenges, truth, and light that you need for your journey. May you never be isolated. May you always be in the gentle nest of belonging. And letting go of any control on your breath. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Let's chant together the sound of Om and sing may all beings in all realms find peace and happiness. We'll sing it in our Sanskrit. Taking a deep inhale. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. And with your next exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. Release your hands and lift your gaze. Now can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, okay. So that John O'Donohue blessing, I don't have a title for it actually. I'll look in one of my books and see if I can remember the title. But anyway, because he's got a whole book of blessings. They're quite lovely. But at any rate, here we go. We're going into our practice. So let's go ahead and come up to standing. And I did have a chair back there. We're going to use a chair or a countertop or something. But first, we'll go ahead and come to standing on your mat. Let's just take Tadasana. And we'll bring the feet to hip distance wide. So if I was greater trochanter width, my feet would be out here. That's more the distance you would do for that squat you were asking me about before class. But for Tadasana, let's bring the feet closer together. And you're welcome to take the palms and shine them forward. Close your eyes. Just allowing yourself to arrive in this standing mountain pose. And then you can open your eyes, inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, bring your hands down, back in front of your heart. Again, inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, hands Anjali Mudra. And take your time, one more. Use the full length of your inhale. And your full exhale as you bring the hands back down. And then relaxing both arms. And just taking mountain pose again, close the eyes. And I'm just going to remind you, just in standing right now. See if you can, you find the pubic bones. And from the top of the pubic bone, you can travel along that upper branch towards the inner hip joint. You can go back. You could go from the inner hip joint along that upper branch towards the top of the pubic bones. And then you travel down to the bottom of the pubic bones. And then along that lower branch, all the way out along that lower branch to the sitting bones. And can you bring your felt sense to to the inner sitting bones. The ones that are, remember, we looked at the width of the sitting bones. So if you go to the inside of the sitting bone, as inside, I don't mean inside the pelvis. I'm thinking go to the part of the sitting bones that's more facing each other right now in your pelvis, and broaden from the inner sitting bones to the outer sitting bones. You might even notice on some of us, when we broaden from the inner across the width of the sitting bone, that you might have felt the weight shift in your feet slightly. Okay, and then finding a place where you're going to be able to either take your foot up on a counter, or a block at the back of the chair, or a block on the seat of the chair, whatever the height is going to be for you. And let's make the right foot be the standing foot. And we're gonna, oh no, let's see. Yeah, your right foot can be your standing foot. I'll mirror you. Mine will be the left. We're gonna not face the chair right now. We're not gonna face it. We're gonna do stretch through the adductors. So you're gonna shift your weight to your standing leg, your right one, and bring your left leg up onto the seat of the chair, the counter. The standing leg foot is a little back. It's not straight under you. It's a little behind you. The height that you take is a height that is achievable for you. It doesn't need to be as high as I have my foot right now. Just take it to a height that feels like the right height. Okay. And then let's go ahead and inhale, reach the right arm up. And then can you, on the standing leg side, can you go from the bottom of the right pubic bone find the top of the right pubic bone, travel to the bottom of the right pubic bone, and all the way down the right inner thigh to the right foot. So you have a lot of strength in the standing leg. And then on the raised leg, find the inner left hip joint and release along that branch towards the top of your left pubic bone. So on the raised leg, from the inner hip joint, travel along that branch, releasing to the top of the pubic bone. You can drop back to your ujjayi. And you could go from the bottom of the raised leg pubic bone all the way to the sitting bone. Travel along that lower branch all the way towards that sit bone. And then let's inhale, come up. And we'll step down. And let's take the other side. So you'll be standing on your left foot, taking the right leg up. The left foot has, I have it, it's a bit at an angle. It's not facing straight towards the, to the left. It's not facing straight towards the right. It's kind of in between. And again, the standing leg is a little behind you. You're welcome to reach left arm up. And can you strengthen all the way down into that standing leg? You could reach from the inner hip joint on the standing leg, all the way to the pubic bone, down the pubic bone to that lower branch, all the way into the sitting bone and down that inner thigh to the standing foot. And then on the raised leg, go to the, place your felt sense at that inner right hip joint. And can you release all along from the inner right hip, along that upper branch towards the pubic bone. You might keep traveling down that pubic bone, if you remember the height of the pubic bone. And then you find the lower branch of the ramus, that lower branch, and can you release all the way towards the right sitting bone? Are you still strong in the standing leg? And then we'll inhale, come back up and step down. Let's face the chair or the counter or whatever you've chosen. And now I'm going to take, let's see, you were just standing on your left leg. So let's stand on your right leg. And let's just turn it just a tiny bit out towards your right. You're facing the chair. And you're going to face the chair and bring your left leg back up. And we'll inhale, lift both arms. You could land your felt sense at the right sitting bone and reach all the way down into the inner thigh of the right leg, all the way down to the right foot. And then once again, let's go. Can you go to the bottom of the left pubic bone? And can you travel along that lower branch to the sitting bone of the raised leg? Can you also go to the outer left sitting bone, the outside of it, and can you move all the way across to the inside of that sitting bone, the side that's closer towards your standing leg? And then lower both arms. You could either bring the arms to the top of the thigh, or as you might be able to take the arms to the shin. Or maybe the hands come all the way towards the block. And softening in that inner hip joint of the raised leg. Or softening all the way across the hip crease. We did that. Okay, then we're going to come out. And we're going to switch legs. So we bring your left leg down. That's going to be your standing leg. You give it a slight turn out. Shift the weight. And then bring your right leg up. And then on the standing leg, you're welcome to go ahead and reach both arms, and then reaching from that lower branch to the sitting bone, to the inner thigh, to the foot. And on the raised leg, can you go to the outside of that sit bone? Remember the width of the sitting bone? Can you go from the outer sit bone and move towards the inner sitting bone? You might feel when you do that, you get a little more external rotation on the raised leg. And then we can lower the arms either to the top of the thigh, so we're still vertical through the torso. You could drop the felt sense into the lower right pubic bone. Travel along the ramus, along that lower branch, all the way to the sitting bone, releasing. For some of you, you'll be able to move the hands. Some of you, the hamstrings will still be a little, we're stretching the hamstrings. We want to do it carefully. All right, then we're gonna come back up and step down. Standing on both legs, feet facing the chair. Okay, and then if you have a block at the back of your chair or something, let's take that off so it doesn't go crashing down. And let's take, if you have a spot at the wall, let's take the block on the narrowest setting. It goes up between the inner thighs. You're a good 12 or more inches from the wall. Hips go against the wall, and you're gonna bow forward, Uttanasana. And here, you might notice, is the pubic bone at midline? Is your pubic bone at midline, or is one pubic, is the pubic bone closer to one inner thigh than the other inner thigh? Can you make a little shift? And then let's take the hands to the wall. If you're at the wall, push yourself a bit away. So now you're going to be in Uttanasana. You can take the block out from the inner thigh. You're in a forward fold. All right. And then we'll shift the hands to the hips and come up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. And then let's take our blocks. I'm going to move the chair out of the way. If it's on your mat, you can move it out of the way. Take the blocks towards the top of your mat. Bring your hands back in front of your heart. Let's inhale, lift both arms. And exhale, bow forward to Uttanasana. Inhale halfway. And exhale, step your right foot back. So you're coming to a lunge, right foot back. Come to fingertips. Can you reach on the back leg? Can you reach all the way from, if you go from that lower right pubic bone, travel along that lower branch all the way to the sitting bone on the right. So there's a lot of strength, similar to in standing. So you got a lot of strength in the back leg. And let's come upright. Can you release on the front hip from the inner left hip joint along that branch to the pubic bone on the left? And then go back the other way on the front leg. Go from the pubic bone back up towards the inner hip. You're welcome to add the arms. And then we'll inhale the arms wide. Exhale, keep reaching back. You bow forward. Inhale, right foot forward. And exhale, left foot back. Second side. On the back leg. Let's go from the bottom of your left pubic bone. Where is it? And can you travel along that lower branch to the sitting bone? Here we go. And then you're going to start to come upright. And on the right side, if you find the top of the right pubic bone, when you reach all the way across to that inner right hip joint, you feel some openness that comes so that the torso isn't leaning completely forward. And then we'll inhale the arms back wide. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, let's bend both knees. You can have your blocks really tall here if you like. So now I'm going to go from my sitting bones towards the lower pubic bones. Inhale, lift my arms, chair pose. Inhale, straighten both legs. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway. And exhale, step downward facing dog. And we've been working in downward facing dog. We've been working on how we stay steady through the midline of the body. So as you take your full inhale to come to plank, notice if you can stay steady with how the weight is passing through both arms. So you're not wobbling from left to right. There's a steadiness as you transition back again to downward dog. And keep going. Can you do about 5 more? So this steadiness, the strength along the midline, and back. So and I feel this too for those of us that ride our bikes a lot, is how do I stay steady? How do I keep, even when I'm on my bike, my wheel from wobbling, or turning left to right at all, that is just going to stay steady. It's the same here in this transition of dog pose and plank pose. How do I stay on my midline? How do I keep, if I'm on my bike, how do I keep my wheel straight and steady? Great. And then the next time we're back in downward facing dog, we're going to pause there. We can reach from inner sitting bones to outer sitting bones. And then let's walk the hands towards the feet. And inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands back in front of the heart. And then release the arms. Any questions so far? Are you ready for a half moon? So in this half moon, I'm going to move my chair again out of the way. We could take a back foot, could be at the wall, or you can be freestanding. Either way, but let's take, if you've got your blocks, you can also kind of go, well, if you're going to use a wall, how far are you going to be? Remember how, if we're going to use the wall, and you're going to stand on your right foot first, but if you're going to use the wall, then you want to be able to reach into the wall, to not feel like you're too close. I only want to be able to put my toes at a wall, not my whole heel and everything, okay? So you kind of measure that, and then once you've got that measured, let's come to standing. Because we're gonna go from Tadasana, you're gonna stand on your right foot first, but we're gonna again use the balance as we come down from Tadasana towards the standing. So if you take your left foot back, use again that balance point, the midline of your body, to transition your right hand down. On the standing leg, can you reach from the sitting bone all the way to the standing foot? So you have a lot of strength. And then we were going from core of the pelvis all the way back towards the raised leg. Core of the pelvis to the raised leg. And then when you release your top arm, bend your front knee and transition back to standing. All right. Ready for the second side? So we're facing your blocks or whatever it is you're using. Right foot back, pick up the back foot, find the midline as you bring your left hand down. So now from the sitting bone on the standing leg, reach into the standing foot. Reach all the way into your standing foot. The standing leg is straight. And then on the raised leg, you're reaching from the core of the pelvis all the way back into that lifted leg. From the core of the pelvis, reach, reach, reach. There you go, Lise. That's it. That's the reach you're looking for. You can find that the entire spine elongating all the way into that raised foot. Maybe you have the arm up. Okay, and then as you come down, you bend the front knee and bring yourself back to Tadasana. Great. It's demanding, very demanding. Okay, so now let's do, let's take a wide-legged forward fold. We can have our blocks. You can go ahead and come down. And let's slide our blocks forward for downward dog arms. Let's still release from the inner sitting bones to the outer sitting bones. From the lower pubic bone towards the sitting bones. And from the inner hip to the top of the pubic bone. Top inner hip to top of pubic bone. You travel down the pubic bone. You go from the bottom of the pubic bone all the way to the sitting bones. Inner sitting bone to outer sitting bone. And then we'll slide the hands back. Shift them up to the hips. Inhale, come up to standing. Step the feet together. All right. So now I want to take a tree pose. Tree pose with a wall, with a hand on one foot or a hand on a strap. So for example, if I stand on my left leg first, for some of you, you'll put a strap over the foot because bringing the foot up is too stressful. To grab onto your ankle and bring your foot and knee out is probably, isn't going to feel good. I have one hand on the wall. So in that case, you can take your strap and make a little loop in it to put around, let's have it around your left foot. I'll be your mirror. So it'll go around your left foot. You're gonna stand on your right and you're gonna bring that strap, you can wrap it around the wrist so that if you can't grab onto your left ankle, you'll use a strap. So like if your foot is here, way down by your knee or something like that. Otherwise, you might have a hold of the ankle itself. All right, so in the standing leg, we're still reaching all the way down from the inner sitting bone, all the way down. And then on the raised leg, can you release from the left pubic bone all the way down, from the inner hip to the pubic bone. inner left hip to pubic bone. And when you did your knee, did it travel down towards the floor more? Inner left hip to the pubic bone. All right. And then let's take, if you have a strap, you can take your strap off and have both legs standing on both legs. And then let's do the other side. So you'll be on your left foot. You can take a strap around the right or grab the ankle. Right hand's on the wall. So on the standing leg, reaching from that inner left sitting bone all the way down into the standing leg foot. And then can you drop your awareness to your inner right hip joint and release all along that inner right branch that goes to the top of the pubic bone. Okay, and then either taking the strap off or letting go, coming back to both feet. Great. Let's inhale, lift both arms. And exhale, come to Uttanasana, forward fold. Releasing those two inner sitting bones away from each other. And then we'll shift the hands. Let's come halfway. Actually, we'll use the hands, we come up halfway, and we're gonna go ahead and bring both knees to the ground. We're coming down towards the floor. And I wanna take Bhadrajavasana 2. So I like to have a blanket to sit on, and I like to fold my blanket into more of a square. So I take it like it's stacked, and then I fold it one more time so that I'll have a little point on my mat, and I'm gonna sit on that point. You could even make that taller. You could use 2 blankets, or some of you might not need any blankets. So Maria might be just seated on the ground. Let's take your left sit bone on the blanket. Your right foot can be either in Virasana. If the right leg doesn't like Virasana, you could take the right leg straight. If the right leg doesn't like Virasana, you can take it straight. Otherwise, if you have your right foot in Virasana, your left foot coming across, we're going to take the strap again. And we're going to take the loop and put it around the left foot. Then that tail's going to go around the Virasana side. You're going to reach left arm back to grab onto the strap. And the right hand comes across. So you're twisting towards your left. Yeah. Okay, on the left leg, can you release from the top of the pubic bone to the inner hip joint? And that might be, you'll find yourself turning when you go from the Padmasana leg, the leg you're turning towards, from the top of the pubic bone to the inner hip. And then on the Virasana leg, your right one, go from the inner hip along that branch towards the pubic bone. Travel down the pubic bone all the way to the sitting bone. And then let's release. We'll switch sides. Before we switch to the second side, let's make both legs straight so that you're opening the back of the knee joint and closing the front of the knee joint. So the back of the knee is open, the front of the knee, and the femur and the tibia come closer together. All right, and then we're going to go the other way. So left foot might be in Virasana or straight, right foot comes around. You take a strap on my foot. Take the right arm around to grab the strap, left hand across. Let's go to the leg you're turning towards first. Go from the pubic bone to the inner hip on this right side. And then on the left side, go to the inner left hip joint. Traveling along that branch all the way towards the pubic bone. And from the bottom of the pubic bone all the way to the sitting bone. And then let's release. We'll come back. Let's straighten both legs again so that we open the back of the knee, close the front of the knee. Okay. And then I'm going to put, make some height. I could either sit on my bolster or take several blankets to sit upon, folded in half lengthwise. So I'm going to give myself either a few blankets or use my bolster. I could sit on that. I know some of you don't have a bolster, so I'm just sitting on my blankets because I think most of you don't. And we're going to take, so if you have a bolster, sit on a bolster and a blanket, at least getting the pelvis high enough. So as you take Baddha Konasana with the feet together, knees wide apart. And then take a look at how your feet meet. And notice if that is on the midline, like the pubic bones. Is it lined up? Is where the feet meet the same as where the two pubic bones come together? And if not, make the small adjustment. So if the feet are meeting off to one side, bring the feet closer to the midline. We can release from the inner hip to the pubic bones. Travel down the pubic bones. All right. And then let's take the hands to the outer knees and bring the legs back up to center and straighten both legs again. All righty. Let's take a bridge pose, a supported bridge with a blanket that goes underneath the shoulders. And let's have our strap as well. So we'll make the strap big. Strap. Where did the strap go? Make your strap big so you have a big loop. And then you'll need your 2 blocks for this one, because we're going to do a supported shoulder stand. So the loop, I'm going to make a loop in my strap. It's going to be big enough, probably about the width of my upper arm bones, maybe a slightly narrower. I want to have my blocks available. And then lie down, head on the ground, but C7's on the blanket. I'm going to pick up the pelvis, 1 block there under the pelvis, maybe 2 blocks. I'm going to find my strap, find my loop, and put it between, the strap is going between the blocks and my feet. And then you're welcome to stay in that supported bridge or bring the knees up and the legs up. And again, here, the eyes can turn, even if the eyes are closed, turn them toward the cheekbones. And then we'll bend the knees. Bring the feet to the ground. Remove the strap, the blocks. You can walk yourself towards your head so that the blanket goes under the pelvis. Just keep both knees bent, feet on the ground for a moment. And then press into the feet and slide the blanket out. And let's take a dead bug here. So you're going to bring, you can either grab onto the backs of the thighs, the shins, or the little toe side of your feet. Now here you might go from the outer sit bones to the inner sit bones. From the top of the pubic bone towards the inner hip joint. And then we're going to bend the knees, bring the feet back to the ground. You should know where your strap is. And let's take the strap now and take your right leg up and put the strap in front of the right heel. So right leg is straight up. Let's take the left leg straight out. So I can still reach on the left leg from the inner left sitting bone to the inner thigh to the inner left foot. We want the knees to be straight, both legs. If you take your right arm out to the side, and then let's bring the right leg, keeping the right side of the sacrum on the ground, but we're going to cross a little bit over midline. Can you go from on the raised leg? Can you go from that sitting bone traveling along that ramus, that lower branch, all the way towards the lower right pubic bone? All right, and then we'll bring the leg back up to center. And let's bend the right knee, bend the left knee, and let's put both feet on the ground. And just noticing, you know, on the right side, the lower abdomen area, that right side, how that feels. Then we'll take right leg straight out and bring the left foot up. We'll take the strap in front of the left heel. Right hand on the strap. Let's reach out the straight leg on the ground from the right sit bone to the right inner thigh, all the way out to the right foot. Left arm out to the side. Keeping the left side of the sacrum on the ground, you can bring the left leg. It could be just to midline. You don't have to go far. Can you travel now from the left sitting bone? You might even be able to better find that left sitting bone that's closer to the right leg, the outside of it, and go all along that branch, the left leg, all the way towards the bottom of your left pubic bone. Can you soften and lengthen there? And then we're going to go back to vertical. Take the strap off. Bend both knees, both feet back on the ground for a moment. And dropping the felt sense back into the low belly. And let's go back to dead bug pose one more time. Dead bug. or happy baby, whatever you want to call it. Can you get the pubic bone to be in the midline? Where is the midline when I'm in this position? It's a little difficult to find. Okay, and then we're gonna bring the feet back to the ground. Let's bring the knees together, feet wide apart, arms overhead. All right, and then you're gonna bring the arms back down and set yourself up for shavasana. Whatever shape that shavasana is gonna be for you. Make sure to give yourself enough support, enough blankets under you or over you, so that you'll be warm. Allowing yourself to come down to this supported resting place. May you be blessed with good friends. May you learn to be a good friend to yourself. May you be able to journey to that place in your soul where there is great love, warmth, feeling, and forgiveness. May this change you. May it transfigure that which is negative, distant, or cold in you. May you be brought into the real passion, kinship, and affinity of belonging. May you treasure your friends. May you be good to them, and may you be there for them. May they bring you all the blessing, challenges, truth, and light that you need for your journey. May you never be isolated. May you always be in the gentle nest of belonging.
Slowly allowing your breath to deepen. And beginning to awaken your body to movement. Making a mindful transition over to one side. And using the support of your arms as you come back up to sitting. Joining your hands in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. I'll stop the recording. Stop.